And we are live across Ondo State, where accreditation and voting are expected to commence anytime soon in polling units in the state. This is in furtherance of their determination to cast their ballots, which will determine who will be the next governor of the state for the next 4 years. It's expected that real voting will commence in other areas as expected. Meanwhile, a little over 1.8 million persons have their names on the voter register, but 1.4 million persons are eligible to vote. The remaining 343,883 represent uncollected permanent voter cards. The Independent National Electoral Commission, a few months ago, released a list of 17 candidates representing 17 political parties for the election. The Southwest State, nicknamed the Sunshine State, was created from the defunct Western region on February the 3rd, 1976, and is one of the 7 states that have off-season governorship elections. And I have joining me live from Accra is TVC News correspondent to tell us about today's election. Ayodeji Moradeo, tell us what do we know so far about today's election?
Moradeo, this is Ayo Ozubakun.
Oh, right, Ayo Ozubakun, yeah.
I'm reporting here from Sacred Heart School here at the Cathedral, and we spotted the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, that is Eyitayo Jegede. This is his polling unit. He arrived here 5 minutes ago and is waiting. He has spotted his name in the register, on the register, so he's waiting patiently to exercise his franchise. And we have so many journalists here. We have observers here. We have security people here. They are also watching from this polling unit. I told you that this is Obadishida Road, and this place in Obadishida Road, they call it the Sacred Heart Cathedral Church along Obadishida Road. 4 years ago, he was also the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and he voted in the same place. Eyitayo Jegede, two-time Attorney General under the government of Rahman Olusegun Mimiko. He was the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General under Governor Mimiko. And in 2016, he was a candidate of the People's Democratic Party. That time, he ran against the candidate of the All Progressive Congress. Then, that's in 2016, he lost to the candidate of the All Progressive Congress. He was a runner-up in that particular exercise. He was the runner-up in that particular exercise, and now, 4 years after, he has emerged as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and today at the Cathedral School, Sacred Heart Cathedral School, Obadishida Road. In this polling unit, I told you that this is like a registration area center for the Independent National Electoral Commission, RAC, and this is where materials for other polling units were distributed earlier today. And in this polling unit, we have, this particular school, we have 4 polling units. And also, you have there's a long line here, and that long line it might take some time before the candidate of the People's Democratic Party actually exercises franchise. So many people in the queue, and the candidate is also queuing. And I told you about this polling units as at 7:30, the electoral officers, they were all set here. And before 8:30, voting proper started. And in terms of logistics, we want to give it to the Independent National Electoral Commission that they kept to their words. And this is what we have here. This is Sacred Heart Cathedral School, Oba Adeshida Road, Akure. And I told you earlier, we noticed the arrival of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Eyitayo Jegede, and he and his wife, they are on queue. voters waiting to exercise their franchise. And on a day like this, you get to see journalists, observers, and other security agencies, especially if the location is strategic. This is the state capital, and we have a lot of them here. You can see journalists jostling to catch a picture, to have a shot of the candidates of the People's Democratic Party. And some, they have the accreditation, those wearing the accredited vests. And the system they're about to practice here is the open secret ballot system. In a situation where you just spot your name from the register first, and after your name has been seen in the register, you get your number, and when you finish getting your number, you come to the ballots area to actually collect the form, the ballot paper, and you actually vote. So, after the ballot paper, collects the ballot paper, and you come here ultimately in that secret place to actually cast your votes. I told you earlier that Eita Jegede, a senior advocate of Nigeria, was the Attorney General Commissioner for Information in Ondo states under the administration of Rahman Olusegun Mimiko. Dr. Mimiko spent 8 years and Eita Jegede spent 8 years as his Attorney General. In 2016, Eita Jegede was also the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. He faced the same opponent, who is the incumbent governor now, that is Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of the All Progressive Congress. 4 years ago, we have the same situation here in Ondo. Eita Jegede, the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, is going to square up with the same person he met 4 years ago. And I told you earlier that on those state politics, we have 1.8 million registered voters. Of the 1.8 million registered voters, you have 1.4 million people that actually got their PVC. Now, this is Akure South local government, and one thing that is very notable about Akure South local government is that it's the largest local government with the largest number of registered voters. They have over 200,000 registered voters in Akure South local government, and it will go a long way to determine whoever is going to get the day if you are able to capture this local government. According to analysts, this is the most densely populated local government, and the registration percentage is put at 81.1 for in the 18 local government. And what we can see here now is that both young and old, everybody came out and they are about to exercise their franchise. You can see the queue. You have young people, you have the elderly. The elderly are waiting patiently to take their turn to actually vote. And it's been like this since 7 a.m. when we got here. People are very anxious, and when you look at their faces, you see determination. And most of them are wearing the face mask, and some are not wearing, but most people here are wearing the face mask. But keeping the social distance, it's something that they're having challenge with here at this polling unit. It's almost impossible to get people keeping the social distance here if you see the way they are on the queue. So they're on their face masks. Some had their face mask on, but some are not keeping the social distancing. And there's a way this registration center, this particular one, we have over 1,350 prospective voters. So it's difficult. They are coming almost at the same time. It's difficult to control them. We have security people also here, but they are not carrying arms. But I can tell you the number of people, voters here, they far outweigh the security people. I'm even trying to spot one around me, but I know that each of the security guys have been posted to the polling units, but they're not bearing any arms, not carrying any arms, not to frighten the prospective voters. Okay, in this particular polling unit, I can see somebody from NSCDC, one other person from Nigeria Customs Service, and some foreign observers behind also monitoring with keen interest the exercise. This is the live transmission of the governorship election from Ondo State. We're reaching you live from Obadeshida Road, Akure, here in Ondo State, and it's the 2020 governorship election to decide the next occupant, or who is going to occupy the government house located at Alagbaka in the state capital here in Akure.
Right. Ayodele Ozugbakun, if you can hear me, I would like to find out, you said a little earlier that some of those who are voting are not putting on their face masks, and their social distancing is not well observed. Is the INEC official, or are the INEC officials making this mandatory for them to comply with?
They don't actually have the capacity, they don't have enough manpower on ground here to actually police and ensure this. Look at the numerical strength of the people at this polling units and at this center generally. When you see the number of people here, you will understand what I'm saying. And it's very difficult for INEC to have enough manpower actually to man this polling unit to make sure they observe the social distancing, and it's also very difficult to get them to wear their face mask. So what is happening, while some people are wearing their face mask, some are not actually wearing the face mask. The 2-meter social distancing, it's almost impossible here. Nobody to implement or enforce it either.
Well, Ayo, also would like to know about the people living with disability. Do they factor them in the election process? Talking about the elderlies and so on and so forth.
Yes, they are factored in the election process, and it is said by the Independent National Electoral Commission that wherever they have those people living with disability, that they should not be subjected to the rigors of going through the long queues. They walk up to the polling unit directly, where the electoral officers have been given express order to attend to them, and they have their own special materials. Those materials that can aid them to vote, and to do that in 5 minutes so that they won't be subjected to any rigor. You can't find them on this queue now queuing. When they come, they are given the priority, but it's given to them, anybody with disability, according to the instruction handed out to the electoral commissioners by the Independent National Electoral Commission. So it's getting cloudy here, and any moment from now, we expect that it's going to rain.
That's a bit of a concern, but Ayo, would like you to also take us through, although you tried to give us paint a bit of a picture for us, but try to take us through how the election process is going on there. Where are they getting accredited precisely, and to where are they moving to exercise the franchise, and how are the people also complying with the directives apart from the COVID-19 issues?
Yes, Ibrahim, what is happening here is that, we've left, this time around, we have simultaneous accreditation and voting. All you need to do is just to go to the register, spot your name, and come and queue. So when you get into the queue, and when it gets to your turn, they will check your name from the register, as is done here. They will check your name from the register. When they see your name right inside the register, they are going to bring out the card reader And what they are doing, particular that you're seeing here, is that the electoral officer, when hand gloves, will sanitize the card reader. After sanitizing the card reader, he will sanitize your hand, and then you now show your voter card. When you show your voter card, in that card, when you show your voter card, in that card, they are going to give you the ballot paper. And after giving you the ballot paper, when you take the ballot paper, you come to this corner. So when you get to this corner, you exercise your franchise secretly.
Right, that makes sense. Ayodele, that makes sense. When I saw the pictures on the TV, I saw...
Yes, Ibrahim.
Yeah, I saw some people wearing a marshal-like kind of a jacket. Are they the election observers? If yes, what are they saying? Are they satisfied with how the process is going so far?
Yes, I have the coordinator of Yaga Africa here. His name is Sam Itodo. He's at this polling unit, and if you see them and some other foreign observers, they're here. Mr. Itodo they have monitors across the 18 local government area in Ondo State here, and they've taken the time to actually break down what it's going to be like in Ondo State. So, Mr. Itodo, from what you've seen so far, you came to this polling unit, what have you observed?
Well, so far so good. You can see there's a high level of enthusiasm on the part of the voters to cast their vote. The voting started at this particular polling unit early, and we can see, voters getting ready, and they want to exercise their franchise. And based on reports that I have gotten from our observers in the field, there seem to be improvement with respect to commencement of elections for this election compared to the Edo elections. If you recall, in Edo elections, as at 8:30 a.m., only 4% of polling units had opened with the conduct of accreditation and voting. But in this case, based on results and findings from the field, from our sampled polling units, we've recorded over 70%.
Over 70%.
Over 70% commencement as at 8:30 a.m. this morning. And so the data is still coming in from the field, but it appears compared to the Edo elections, there's early commencement. But what is very disturbing is the weather condition. As you can see in this polling unit, it looks like it's going to rain. We're very concerned whether...
The people might be discouraged to go back home.
Not that, but it might disrupt the election, because you can see the long queues here, but we don't know if the INEC officials either have raincoats or rain boots to help them proceed with the conduct of this election. We've also, received reports about, boats actually capsizing in Ilaje local government. Some of our observers, the Yaga Africa observers, were in that boat.
So that happened today.
So that happened today, this morning. But we keep watching. But it is really heartwarming to see that the people of Ondo State have come out to cast their vote, and they are cooperating. But one of the things that we're also concerned about is the vote buying. We're beginning to see incidents of vote buying in this particular election. But
have you noticed that in this polling unit?
Yes, we've noticed in this polling unit. And the political parties and their agents have devised innovative ways, of actually buying votes. So you have individuals who stand, to watch over how voters are thumbprinting their ballot papers. And once the voters finish, they show them. And there's, a lot of eye communication going on in this whole, ecosystem of vote buying. But the INEC officials have responded, quite impressive, and they've tried to ensure that people are not located in places where they can see how voters have casted their ballot.
Samson, you told you that from Yaga Africa, and I told you that this polling unit, it's about to rain. This is where the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Tayo Jegede, will actually exercise his franchise. And this rain might disrupt the exercise, Ibrahim.